Each year, millions of people embark on trips into the outdoors. Nature-based activities such as hiking, camping, and fishing have been linked to an array of benefits such as improved well-being, an increase in physical activity, and reduced social isolation. But are we loving nature to death? The positive benefits that outdoor recreation has on humans does not always have the same effect on the environment. As we head into the outdoors, natural resources can be compromised. Although the impact on the environment can vary on the intensity of use, impacts arise nonetheless. But not to worry, here are some tips that will help you reduce your impact on your next adventure. Curiosity to explore and be one with nature has led to the popularity of camping. In a 2022 report done by Campground of America, 92 million American households identified as campers and 58 million households camped at least once the past year. The rise of popularity can be tied to the COVID-19 pandemic that hit the globe back in 2020. But outdoor recreation like camping was a part of social distancing before social distancing became a part of everyone's daily life. Outside of the pandemic, camping provides a host of benefits that are good for your body and your mind. Benefits include relationship building, opportunities to learn and develop new skills, unplugging and getting away from your everyday life, connecting with nature, and stress reduction. As camping is rapidly gaining momentum as a popular recreational activity, it can induce significant and often localized resource impacts within natural areas. These impacts can affect the vegetation, wildlife, and water. The first step in reducing the impact on the environment on your next camping trip is to always plan ahead. This will ensure the safety of you and others, prepares you to leave no trace and minimize resource damage, as well as building your confidence. This can be done by knowing the regulations and special concerns of the area you are visiting, tracking weather, scheduling a trip that avoids high-intensity use, using reusable gear, and packing lightweight food items that require minimum packing and will help decrease waste. Whether you are planning to camp in the front country or back country, a few factors come into play before picking the best location. Most of the front country campgrounds already have a designated pad with a picnic table and fire pit, but you should always be aware of the potential hazards. When you arrive at your campsite, first walk around the boundary and look up to see if there are any dead branches. If there are, you shouldn't set up underneath it. If you're backcountry camping, some parks will already have established sites in order to consolidate damage and the impact to centralized locations. If there are no established sites, take into account the surroundings prior to setting up camp and use your best judgment. Ask yourself, how would I disturb wildlife by sleeping here? Are there wildflowers growing? Do not clear a spot for your tent by cutting back vegetation. Set up camp 200 feet from the trail and all water sources, including lakes, streams, and springs. Measuring can be done by taking 70 adult steps. The site you choose should be as perfect as you found it. Having a fire and roasting marshmallows has always been a part of the camping experience, but having a fire is a big responsibility of a camper. Before you want to build a fire, you should always check the park or county website to verify if it is safe to have a fire. There are times when fire bans are placed, especially during hot, dry, and windy conditions where fire is most favorable. If you are able to have a fire, it is always best to purchase firewood rather than gathering from your site. State parks do not allow you to gather firewood, but firewood can be purchased at the park ranger station, campground host, or campground site in most park locations. Unless otherwise stated, you can bring locally sourced firewood into the park. Using locally sourced firewood will decrease the risk of transferring invasive species and reduce the travel distance of your firewood. If you are in the backcountry and gathering is allowed, use the 4 Ds for firewood collection. Dead, only use dead wood. Down, don't break branches off of trees. Dinky, wood no bigger than your forearm. Distant, go far from your camp to collect wood. Remember to always keep your fires at a manageable size and use existing fire rings or pits. If there is no fire ring or pit, do not have a fire, as this will encourage future use. The leave no trace principles help sustain the environment for generations to come. Many of these principles have already been mentioned. As your camping trip comes to an end, inspect the site to make sure there is no trash or food. If there is, pack it out and throw it away in a designated trash bin. If you are backcountry camping, deposit solid human waste in cat holes that are dug 6 to 8 inches deep and at least 200 feet or 70 adult steps from a water source, trail, or campsite. The 70 adult steps also applies when you are washing yourself or dishes. Outdoor recreation activities such as camping should be a part of your next adventure. Just remember to plan ahead, be responsible, and use your best judgment.
Hiking in the great outdoors is one of the most popular pastimes in the United States, and even here in Florida, where the terrain is fairly level and unvaried, hiking enthusiasts still find ample opportunities to connect with nature and enjoy the serene beauty that this diverse state has to offer. During the height of the pandemic in 2020 and 2021, more Americans sought to spend productive time outside in nature, as almost 59 million people across the country took to the trails. This was the highest number of active hikers since 2010, and the trend has been steadily moving upward since then. Florida, with its relatively easy terrain and tremendous ecological diversity, has also experienced an increase in this outdoor activity. But as the benefits of hiking and backpacking are easily measurable to humans, so too are the possible negative implications to our environmental systems. Hiking offers immense benefits to our health and well-being, but can also unintentionally harm the delicate ecosystems we cherish. Overcrowding trails lead to soil erosion, disrupting habitats and affecting plant and animal life. Litter and waste tarnish the natural beauty and pose threats to wildlife. Wildlife too can be impacted. Constant human presence can disrupt their natural behaviors and even lead to habitat abandonment. So what can we do as naturalists who care about the environment we're exploring? First, always embrace the leave no trace principle. Pack out what you pack in and dispose of waste properly to ensure the environment remains untainted. Be sure to use environmentally friendly products such as bug spray and sunscreen. Always utilize a refillable bottle while on the trails to reduce plastic waste, and avoid picking up and bringing home natural souvenirs from a trail, as it may have negative impacts on the local ecosystem. Second, observe and respect any warnings or trail closings that are posted in the area you're hiking in, as these notices are meant to protect nesting birds or other animals. Stay on designated trails to prevent soil erosion and protect fragile plant life, including ground cover and native ferns. By doing so, we preserve the natural beauty for generations to come. Walking on more durable surfaces, such as bedrock, gravel, or sand, can help minimize negative impacts on these delicate areas. Respect wildlife from a distance. Allowing animals their space helps maintain their natural behaviors and safeguards their habitats. Never attempt to feed wild animals, as this could cause them to associate humans with food and become dependent on unreliable food sources. If you are hiking with your pet, be sure to keep them on a leash and under full control at all times, as they may chase and possibly injure wildlife. Also, engage in trail maintenance and restoration efforts. Volunteering your time ensures trails are well managed and helps ecosystems thrive. Check with your local state parks and other resources to find out how you can help. And finally, make an effort to educate yourself and others. Learn about the ecosystems you're hiking through and share that knowledge with fellow adventurers. The Florida Master Naturalist Program is a perfect way to do this and gives lovers of the outdoors a solid understanding of how things in the natural world around us work. As we lace up our boots and embark on our hiking journeys, let's remember that every step has an impact. By hiking responsibly, we can savor the beauty of nature while ensuring its preservation. With a little knowledge, we can move towards a future where hiking leaves behind only memories and footprints of positive change. To learn more about how you can make a difference, be sure to visit leavenotrace.org. This comprehensive resource provides a wealth of information, from practical tips on waste disposal and trail etiquette to insightful guides on preserving ecosystems and respecting wildlife. With this information, we can empower ourselves to become stewards of the natural world, ensuring that our outdoor experiences leave minimal impact on the lands around us.
Whether it's for the peacefulness of nature, the hunt for food, or the desire for sport, fishing is a popular pastime amongst both tourists and locals near Florida wetlands. It's important to know the rules and ethics of responsible fishing to not only sustain the hobby, but to also protect our waters as well as your general safety. Minimizing noise will give you a higher chance of catching fish. This is because louder noises can spook wildlife. Practicing quietness will also make for a more peaceful environment for not only you, but others around you as well. Remember to be aware of your surroundings. As you are waiting for that first bite, an unsuspecting alligator awaits your catch. At first, a gator may be hard to notice, as they like to keep the majority of their bodies submerged. If you're lucky, you may also come across other wetland animals such as this Florida manatee. Manatees tend to be curious animals that may come closer to observe humans. Be mindful of where your line and hook is if you see one in the water. It's important to take notice of any areas that may be off limits. You can also visit the county or park website to see a list of posted non-fishing areas. While it may not always be clear as to why these laws are in place, it could be extremely important to protect wildlife habitats or even for your own safety. Through the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission website, you can find local laws regarding recreational fishing, such as catch and release laws, size limits, and invasive species. This is Mike, a local Florida resident who practices responsible fishing. Let's see what he has to say.
So Mike, what can you tell us about responsible fishing?
Well, responsible fishing is definitely not hurting the environment and hurting the fish when you catch a fish. When you catch a fish and you bring it on the shore, you need to get it back. Not going to keep it. You need to release the fish as soon as possible.
If you don't have plans to keep it, releasing your catch as soon as possible will raise the likelihood of its survival.
Is there any type of special gear that you use that is more ethical?
What I like to use is circle hooks, because when the fish grabs the hook, doesn't hook it immediately inside of its belly or inside of its mouth too deep, circle hook rolls back and actually catches the front of the fish's mouth. So when it does that, you can easily take the hook off and release the fish safely.
Mike also shares with us the proper way to dispose of unwanted fishing line and why this is so important for the environment.
Because monofilament is a type of plastic and it takes a long time for that to disintegrate into the earth, hundreds of years. There's a line collection stations that looks like a white PVC pipe, and you want to take that line that you're not using or you can't use, or even if you find it from someone else's, take that line, because it's going to hurt our environment. It's going to hurt our animals, the birds, turtles, all those freshwater species. And then if it hits the ocean or the Gulf, that is a bigger issue for other bigger animals.
You can generally find these line disposal stations near boat ramps or fishing docks.
For tourists, you're going to have to buy a Florida out-of-state license.
And where would one get a license from?
So to purchase a license, there's a lot of easier ways nowadays compared to going to the store like I used to. You can go online and actually go to the FWC app, and you can purchase a license online. So there's certain fish that they don't want in these waters anymore, and they'll let you know what fish you should not return back into the ecosystem because they're actually harmful, so they're invasive species.
While many choose to fish from the shore, some opt for fishing by boat or kayak. It's important to also know local boating laws, which again can be found on the local county or park website. So remember, these laws are here to protect you and nature so that you can continue doing what you love.
Remember to always plan ahead before you embark on your next adventure and keep the environment in mind.